Hello, everyone! Blue Star Saber here with
Mangareader? That's right, I keep forgetting. You always put me on the spot now after I made fun of you for that one reason.
Well, would you rather I introduce you or you introduce
No,
yourself?
that's fine.
Fair enough. And we also have here with us,
Good old LKNMJ, also known as Steve.
yes, Steve has finally come back to review something on my channel since we did Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, you guys did that one? Interesting.
Yeah.
They
And
keep bugging people.
Yeah.
Keep bugging people.
Review this. Review Sasuke Retsuden. Review.
That's about it right now. The Retsuden and the
Attack. Whatever.
whatever.
I could ask you to review One Piece more often, Steve, but I don't think you'd be willing. But yeah.
Let's start from chapter 1 all the way up to the current.
But yes, this is Steve's very first time reviewing My Hero Academia on this channel. If you watch Lucky Cheese podcast, you've probably seen him multiple times discussing manga arcs or anime seasons or movies, depending on what it's watched. In fact, I'm pretty surprised Lucky Cheese hasn't made us review the third movie yet. But yeah,
that's because he just recently bought it.
Okay, that explains it.
He wasn't even aware it was out.
Well, I
guess that means
didn't see the.
I know. I saw you had it. I mean, I had the movie too. I just mean I saw that you had bought it already beforehand.
It usually ends up being on Netflix or Crunchyroll for me, so it's like I can just watch it there instead of buying the DVDs.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it's like, yeah, Steve was pointing out that, yeah, there's just still no content for purchasing these dang things.
Fair enough, but yeah. But anyway, chapter 373, also known as Friends. Though I've recorded the hand that reached him, and we'll probably find out why by the end of this chapter. But yeah. But before we get with like the summary of the view thing, Steve, how about we have your bit of opinion on what's been going on with My Hero Academia's final war arc, if you will?
Overall, it's not too terrible. It's certainly going a lot faster than Naruto's final war arc. Like a hell of a lot faster.
Like suddenly Naruto, the man's rushing. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like Naruto chapter 373 was, oh god, I don't even know.
We don't even remember anymore.
The final war arc, that much I can say. It was war arc for Naruto was chapter 500 something.
515 to 700, I believe.
Yeah. So there you go.
Hot damn, man. Hot damn. Yeah, what? Then, I don't know, you'd been in, like, the training section around that time, probably?
I guess so. But anywho, so for the most part, the war arcs have been going pretty fast, and it's going pretty good. A couple of hiccups here and there.
I take it the Bakugo supposedly dying but being resurrected thing is one of them?
That, and the fact that not this chapter, but 2 chapters ago with 371, we get this whole exposition dump regarding Shoji and the mutants. Like, oh, mutants have always been oppressed by the hero kind. Like, wait, hold the phone here.
When is
Why
this
are you
happening?
just finding about this now? And when it's clearly the final war arc.
Yeah, it could have been better as a setup at some point earlier before this.
Like,
earliest I can argue for this is the beginning of the Meta Liberation Army, where the League of Villains, when scavenging for like resources, they killed this cult that hates people like Spinner and all that stuff, and he monologues through inside him and all that stuff. But that was, of course, cut from the anime as well, so it's like it didn't even seem all that important. But now it looks like, okay.
I guess some of the problem is that Spinner being a villain isn't necessarily a reliable narrator. So him him being kind of all like, oh well, I was hated growing up. We would have never really known the context behind that. He could have just been like a kind of a dick the whole time. And
yeah. Other than that, the only other thing I can think of is then, like, just a few chapters just before the thing when, like, that one where we all can be heroes, but I think then, like, you had the ones with the villains. We had, like, Toga going back to her home. It did sort of end with this mutant army with spinning in their face. That is all it is, but yeah, it's a concept that hasn't been played well, and not to mention, I will say, of all the non-humanoid characters, you're doing Shoji and Anima, who are arguably the two of the minor ones, and the main non-humanoid character that we've had, Tokoyami, is currently battling All for One with his mentor Hawks and all that stuff. So it's like, yeah.
I guess the only thing I can ever imagine, because I know we've been discussing this all the way through, was that maybe it's because Tokoyami still is mostly human-like. I mean, all he has is the bird face.
Yeah.
Where the other guys actually look throughout, and their powers essentially are kind of on the whatever they call these
heteromorphs or something.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, I am actually glad that Koei is actually giving some development to the members of Class 1A. Right. I mean, it's more than, say, what the K11 got by the end of Naruto's war arc. Where it's like, it feels like, but like you said, it feels a bit out of place.
If anything, and I mean, yeah, it's kind of come a little too... It fits the narrative, but yeah, it would have been nice to have even a shred of some idea of what this is. And maybe it was just, I don't know if it was just Koei didn't like plan to be at this point and just kind of had to put it in there. But I mean, obviously storytelling is better than no storytelling at all. But
I mean,
obviously when you're kind of rushing something like this, it would have been a little nicer, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I do like I mean, it's not like you can do like the world building of One Piece, like with the Fishmen and all that stuff, which spawned from like the Arlong Park to Sharabi Archipelago and then finally to Fishman Island about the whole thing. Because it'll take like forever and all that stuff, but yeah.
I feel like One Piece is the only thing that can get away with it because of when it started. I feel like any manga that tries to replicate it at all anymore is going to just almost die immediately.
Yeah,
I'll always argue that with One Piece, Ichiro Oda clearly has a story Bible with him at all times,
right?
Which is why he's allowed to make those plot point A to plot point F to plot point double Z. You know,
I like how the joke is that
he has a story Bible with story beats written out. He just doesn't know how to get there.
He just doesn't get. He has the ending plan. He just needs to know how to get there. I like how the meme is like that he has like the massive like freaking dictionary sized story already planned out, and yeah, it's just him slowly turning the page each time.
Yeah.
Which I'd argue it's a reaction. It's an involuntary reactionary jerk.
Practically.
How Akira Toriyama would write stuff out, which is to say he didn't.
Right.
Pretty much. And this is to the amazement of every other mangaka. He somehow managed to string along a coherent plot. Coherent, not sensible, and not even and not even
well thought out half the time,
thought out, but at the very least it was coherent enough. Where he just basically twiddle around with his model cars and airplanes, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to draw.
I have to make my manga for the week."
Yeah.
Every once in a while, his editor would say, you sure about that?" Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. I shouldn't make these this old man and fat robot my main villains.
Yeah. Instead, I'll make it into a couple of young teenage-looking ones. No way. I need to make it look like some sort of green monster, like let's see,
Insect man.
Kind of yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's one of the most let's see, famous examples. But yeah, Koei and Koei. It's Toriyama's the one end where he just seems to make it up but goes along, but somehow he made it all work. While Oda seems to be this one that seems to plan out nearly every detail in the long run.
I shouldn't say every detail, certainly the major ones.
Well, the major details.
Like,
he knows his
certainly-
arcs. He just obviously doesn't know what the subplots will half the time be.
I mean, after
and how
all,
long each arc would end up being, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, to be fair, let's see. To be fair, the worst generation members he came up on the spot with Ötzi and Shadioka Pelico, but yeah, they end up became quite major factors in like the new world and all that stuff. But yeah,
But
the Law and Kid.
But yeah, getting back to
The
what's
My
on
Hero
the page
anyway.
here.
Yeah.
So yeah, clearly the mutant stuff needed at least some
Build up.
at least some development prior to 371. Because Shoji, he's been around since day frickin' one, and you're telling me, oh yeah, I've been oppressed by people before. Wait,
I mean,
what?
For sure. Do you want me to tell you about these scars?
Right.
I mean, at the very least, you could have maybe showed background, like subtle hints in the background where you have some students looking at him, let's see, funny looking and all that stuff.
And it never seemed to happen. Like everyone, I mean, well, they do go out of their way to explain why that was because big city was.
Right. In many ways, it could be like commentary on real life, where you get more city folk lot and commuter areas being more accepting of like diverse, let's see, people with diverse backgrounds, while the ones in more rural areas a bit less tolerant and all that stuff, if you will.
Or it could be once again his inspiration from American comics just rearing its ugly head. Like, oh yeah, I like the X-Men too.
Yeah, which is what I was mainly thinking, which is why I think a few chapters ago I went, My Hero Academia was going.
You're like X-Men's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone should have probably been expecting what it is. Now, the other tone of it is like what I was telling him is like apparently everyone wants to see this as a more black and white situation. And I'm not necessarily meaning that as like literal black and white, but I mean, you know, on a more racial level tone, apparently some people have come to the conclusion of.
You mean like are you referring to when some people like found it a bit witsy?
Yeah, I know, with Lockhart, yeah, or Rocklock. I mean, yeah. And I'm just saying that I'm not really sure if that's. I for a fact know that that's probably not at all what Koei was even remotely aiming for, but that's what some people, because that's essentially what X-Men was supposed to be, supposedly built on. Yada yada.
Well, to be fair, the X-Men only really became about like sort of civil rights kind of issues when I think Chris Claremont took over. I think Stan Lee, when he created them, they were just like another superhero team.
Well, that's what it was intended, yeah, because it was always Fantastic Four, and then they wanted the X-Men, and then the Avengers eventually came around.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just, I never really brought it up, but it's like, Soji's scar around what looks to see, like, seemingly goes around his entire neck to the other side. It's like, nothing makes sense about that. Like, how the hell did he... Did he get cut around? Did they try chopping his head off or something?
Right. I don't know. Maybe they try to stab him with a knife or something.
Well, it goes from where the jawline is.
Maybe not a knife, but a sickle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But at least we know. Well, at least we had a purpose to like the mask thing, compared to, I suppose, like say with Kakashi. But yeah,
just for mystery.
Yeah. And you finally end up revealing it, and then like a sort of Omake chapter in the end and all that stuff. And turns out it ended up being the design that in this other Omake thing, when Naruto asked all of Kakashi's dogs what he looked like, Parker said he looks like this, and then Naruto goes up to tell Sakura, and then he goes like, when Kakashi comes, that is mask, but we can't see, of course. And Parker was like, oh, okay, I was wrong, but turns out he was right. So it's like, Kishimoto, you seem to have forgotten your own omakes there. And again, Kishimoto hasn't really been known for consistency.
Right.
But yeah, which is, yeah, Kishimoto. More on the Toriyama thing, but not making it work. Koei, I feel like, is currently in the middle. Got some stuff planned, some stuff not so much. But I could be wrong. But anyway, I think it's time we get on to the chapter, though. Let's see. What do you make of like the comic book like colored cover of like a Kurogiri with his like human form, I believe. Let's see, sort of coming like it's smoke coming out of it and all that stuff. What do you make of this cover?
Shirakuma.
Sorry, Marguerite. I tend to always ask when a cover shows up what people's opinions are of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that Shirakuma was his name or whatever you want to.
Shirakuma. Okay, yeah, Shirakuma.
Yeah. You're asking me and Blue or Steve at that point. I keep forgetting why you're asking me.
I don't know. There's simplistic and then there's too simplistic. Like I like the gradient, the shading gradient going on and the lighting gradient going on, but I don't know. What's he supposed to be staring at is my question.
I guess it's just supposed to be a portrait shot of some sort, just to show that, oh yeah, this is kind of what his face would look like, since we're used to the black flame cloud that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
I guess he just likes doing some of these images. I actually admit that, yeah, it's a little on the more dull side compared to some of his other things that he's done. I guess it's cool that we know his hair is white now.
I believe it's sort of whitish blue. I mean, if you can see it on like the volume 9 of the Vigilantes cover, I think, or at least the side of it. But yeah. Well, granted, I do have the volume, so I need to start reading those. But yeah, so yeah, it's got a list of chores to do. But yeah,
I still just don't understand how Vigilante can be a prequel to My Hero Academia, and yet we still have yet to see these actual characters from Vigilantes. How is it not in there?
For my guess, it seems to be a sort of before the fall situation with Attack on Titan. There's a prequel. There's some interesting stuff about the world, like the creation of the ODM gear, but none of the characters tie in with the main story.
I was going to say, basically, this almost feels like it confirms that those main characters either get arrested or die.
Well, from what I can, spoilers for anyone who hasn't read the main thing, or should I not spoil it for you guys in case you want to read it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not too big on I'm not Vigilante.
In reading spin-offs.
Spin-offs.
Yeah. From my understanding, at the very least, the main character seems to become an official hero.
Is he actually?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
It's weird, though, because I do actually know the main character's ability. It is weird to me that Oda, or why did I say Oda? Koei used a character that essentially seems to have that same power for the Meta Liberation. That one guy, that one hero.
Sliding Go?
Yeah. I know who Sliding Go is. He's the main protagonist of Vigilante. I'm just... Or is that...
The Meta Liberation member.
Yeah.
Sorry,
is that the Meta Liberation guy? I just remember that the one hero that made it look like he was a hero and then proved that he was actually part of the Meta Liberation. And he seemed to have the same power.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why would you do that? that's going to be your Vigilante reference of sorts, not actually having the protagonist be part of the Meta Liberation, but just have a guy that kind of has the same power set.
Yeah, well, I do remember when Midoriya was going a bit vigilante himself. Lucky she wondered if those characters would show up, but clearly that was not the case.
Yeah, apparently, like I said, Koei just does not want to include his spin-off prequel in there. I don't even know if Koei's actually writing that or not, though.
I think the story idea comes from him, but it's being written by someone else.
Let's see, then
I guess it being a spin-off would make sense.
So yeah, he probably has at least input at the very least, particularly maybe some stuff like the world building, but yeah.
If he considers
Anyway.
it canon, then I would assume that, yeah, he's just telling them, yeah, if this makes sense, you can write it. If it doesn't, yada yada.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, now to the actual chapter. We see Kurogiri and Anima battling some of the paranormal hetero members and all that stuff, showing that not every one of them stopped during when they charged into the hospital. I think Anima still's got like the paranormal lieutenant restrained and all that stuff. And just when Shoji's about to be attacked by a hammerhead sharp one with an axe, he ends up being intercepted by that pig guy that Steve sort of mentioned quite a bit off the thing, and that stops everyone from fighting as he starts to speak. Saying how they might be doing this the wrong way and all that stuff. With the lieutenant trying to shout, saying, no, don't stop, and all that stuff, about how bad the whole system is and that what they've been going through. And the pig guy ends up saying that, of course, he's thinking about what is going on, about how he got beat up for no reason, and how angry he gets thinking about it. But he goes towards Shoji thinking, and asking him if he thinks that if he's going to laugh at him for being like indecisive or something. When he got like real pumped up of all these folks talking, and then staying silent would be just siding with evil, or if you will, or like the evil against them, if you will. Given how the world's turned their back on them. And when he heard about, Spinner being the so-called representative and messiah, he thinks that, okay, it looks like he finally has a leader to thing. But I think he ends up thinking about the previous conversation that Soji had with Spinner when his brain wasn't fully thinking, as he's got the don't care thing. But when he realizes that the whole world and that stuff, he thinks that really he can't really bring himself to, kill everyone in a hospital. With the lieutenant now just thinking about how Shoji has just or as he refers to him as the octopus, has caused a real thorn in this stuff and has managed to calm down their radicalization. Instead of bringing out their supremacy and all that stuff, with him trying to desperately tell everyone to not to stop and think and go back to action, but it doesn't work. And actually, one of them I think is sort of like Medusa-like hair one. I can't really quite tell from close up of the face. I don't think she has a mouth. Trying to get everyone to march forward and say this is a revolution. The pig guy ends up asking Soji if whether or not he did the right choice or if he should have stayed at home and all that stuff. But Soji ends up answering, saying that the feelings he made to rise up today were neither useless nor necessarily wrong. And the ones who have hurt people like them haven't been dragged into the light yet. But then you end up getting heroes, and then you get some of the heroes coming in saying how they've heard their voices loud and clear today, and apologize for not realizing this sooner and all that stuff. And I think that, I'm not sure if it's Shoji that's talking about this, or maybe just the hero that was just talking, saying how you never stop thinking about it all. And now looking like a bright shining light to look at right now. And apparently they're saying let's use this new light to begin this chain to those who have inflicted harm unto them, until they themselves who have done the prejudice will feel guilty themselves and all that stuff. As we start to see heroes, some of the heroes, particularly the Lock one. Rocklock stop fighting each other and just looking at each other. And you see the giant mass mob, quieting down and all that stuff. let's with Rockblock thinking about how all we could do to defend themselves was fight fire with fire, but it seems like he's thinking about how that was wrong. But he ends up declaring that he ends up telling other heroes that they need to go to reinforcements in the hospital, as let's see, there's still the situation with Kurogiri. But yeah, we see that Spinner is being blasted by President Mike's voice thing, which I forgot to mention. He ended up with seeing in the chapter that he told Shoji that that's where he was going to stop Spinner from getting to Kurogiri. And during this, he ends up destroying, let's see, the recording that Spinner had from like Shigaraki and All for One and all that stuff. Let's see, and he realizes with that destroyed, let's see, he won't be able to wake up Kurogiri. So he now has to think of what he's going to do before he loses his chance to rescue him. Well, President Mike thinks like ever since like the last time he talked with Kurogiri, he hasn't really budged then. And he starts to think that it's very possible that Kurogiri, that his friend is truly broken beyond repair. And there might not be no chance of saving him. But anyway, Spinner's mind is starting to go blank, and as his body won't obey any of his commands and all that stuff. Let's see, but he thinks back to like, and also where he's thinking about no one backing him up, but he thinks back to like his life so far with I believe Darby saying you're just cosplaying as Stain and all that stuff. As he thinks about how it seems to be completely let's see, he has just been empty as no time, and like with his countenance Shoji, he just realizes that all he wanted to do was to follow Shigaraki, just so he can stand tall as he looks at the hand of the last hand that of Shigaraki's initial like villain design, and the last one of his dead relatives and all that stuff. As President Mike is now running towards them and all that stuff. Let's see, thinking about how this plan of theirs was a last resort, then they need to divide and conquer. And if they lose Kurogiri, or like his friend Shikayama to the League again, it'll be all over and all that stuff. As he thinks back to the time when they were like a trio with Endeavor, telling Shigaraki in his mind that Aizawa has lost like an iron leg and all this. So let's see, he doesn't want any more memories to be ripped away, and of course, if he isn't going to be, Shikakuma anymore, it might as well just best that he just be a memory of their past. Let's see, but if he is still in there, he'd come out and all that stuff. But of course, Spinner makes his move, grabs Shigaraki's hand, and thinks back to all the times that he sort of bonded with or like followed Shigaraki, with like a little panel again with this two of them talking, which I assume is when they were talking about their sort of game stuff with League of Legends. As he gets the hand to reach Kurogiri and tells him how he's got to save Shigaraki, with President Mike shocked about the whole thing. And Kurogiri rises, though you can see a brief bit of like the face of like Shiakumo as he's starting to rise and all that stuff. As he declares himself as the protector of Tomo Shigaraki, with Spinner now seemingly unconscious on the ground, and that ends the chapter with like most of Kurogiri's face covered except for like one eye, ending the chapter. So guys, what do you make of the chapter?
A lot of action, not a whole lot of sustenance, to be honest.
Really?
Like, yeah, I mean, we get Pigman there saying, this kind of looks like we're the bad guys. So, fuck you.
Yeah, let's see. What about some of the stuff where the heroes just started to realize that they should have tackled this issue sooner, and then now going to try and bring this issue more closer to the public?
I said little sustenance. I didn't say there wasn't any.
None whatsoever.
right.
No, it's all action and no talk.
Okay, sorry,
Now,
my
to
bad.
boil this down, it's pretty much stand and talk, punch in the face, running down a hallway. Then the lizard man speaks like a caveman, because of course.
Yeah.
And then the bad guy comes back to life.
Something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
Let's save Shigaraki and others.
And others.
Nah.
Fair enough, but I suppose I should ask: do you think Spinner, as like in this fight, is now completely out of the fight now since he's been knocked out by President Mike?
Pretty sure it's safe to say that he's
Yeah.
incapacitated at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we finally have one of the villains actually staying down and out because, well, Darby was initially, we thought he was defeated by Shoto, but then he came back using his ability and all that stuff.
Of course he did.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Just limit breaking ability anyway, you know.
Yeah. Which I will admit was a bit surprising that was the first thing to be dealt with, since that was like one of the most longest recurring plot lines. But yeah,
Right.
But clearly Koa has something still planned for Darby and all that stuff. Let's see. Granted, I know that the next chapter has already come out and all that stuff, unofficially at least. But I like to review these when they're the official ones.
Official release. Right. Well, yeah, obviously we can't spoil the next one then.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess something interesting, and I'll give my full report after the fact. But I guess in Japanese, I guess Kiriguri speaks differently or some crap like that. So at this, I am the protector of Tomura Shigaraki. I guess he uses speech like. In Japan, I guess he uses the speech that sounds like his regular, the guy he was before, Kumura.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be like some blend going on here.
Probably we'll just probably have to wait and see for the anime to actually, like adapt this thing, which will probably be about another season or two, maybe.
I don't know about anime. I just know that sometime in the future we might find out what side Kuroguri is going to be siding with. I know, again, the new chapter, non-spoiler, would be something, yada, yada, but you don't know. I mean, clearly he's showing more signs of being Shirakuma more so than whatever fake Nomu power he was given by All for One. So, like I said, playing out, we'll see going forward.
Yeah.
But as for this chapter, I mean, yeah, that mean Steve basically, more or less, point for point, just was pretty much saying, yeah, this happened, that happened. That's all we need. That's all we need to know. I will find it funny though that I know how we were talking about how they just established this whole incident, and what now, two chapters later, it's suddenly like solved.
Well,
supposedly.
Yeah, well, to be fair, from what I can tell, most mangas, usually when it comes to like a fight or a conflict or thing, they usually only like the last 2 or 3 chapters on average, unless it's like the main villain.
I think this, again, would have probably made, or would have felt better if Koei had maybe established a bit more of this earlier.
Yeah.
Than just kind of throwing it all together. But,
yeah. Given the fact that the 2 characters that are the main or at least the characters that are the main focus of this, Shoji and Anima.
And honestly enough, Soji Soji did at least enough to maybe warrant it, but yeah, honestly, Anima just felt like he was just, there. Didn't really say anything or do anything that would have helped. It was mainly just Soji. And I know why. Again, it was city versus
rural.
outer. Yeah, well, yeah, I was gonna say rural or outer area, whatever you want to call it. I think there's like even a different, more term.
No, I suppose it makes sense that he'd be more of the support for him and all that stuff. And I did like that he took out the lieutenant, which
Right.
I do like how the lieutenant here is desperately trying to get everyone to continue the revolution, but it's like.
But at the end of the day, it feels like President Mike was the one that really, kind of ultimately stole the show.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because he had like nothing really to do with this ultimately. So
yeah, nothing with the issue itself, but more of like the stuff with Kurogiri, which is building up to like arguably how Shigaraki is going to not be taken out by Midoriya just yet.
That we think anyway. We have no idea still. We don't know. We don't know if the spoilers know, but we don't know.
But that seems to be where, of course, it's leading with, because, well, since he's supposed to be the protector of Shigaraki,
right.
Let's see, we can probably predict that he's going to teleport to come and save him.
I'm kind of curious now, though, when you think about it, if he's because Shigaraki isn't exactly Shigaraki right now. He's kind of he's the merged,
merged of all for one and himself.
Yeah, and right now, if I'm not mistaken, well, if we believe the whole inner child thing, that reality is it's really all for one still controlling or in the driver's seat right now. So
yeah. So out of curiosity, Steve, how do you feel about that little like a concept? The Shigaraki all for one merging thing.
I guess I'd be all for it. Like at the very least for storytelling potentiality.
Yeah,
it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah,
certainly not the worst idea I've ever heard. I'll say that much, even for this series.
Yeah, I have seen some mixed responses from it, though I'm not sure. I can't recall how Lucky Chi felt about it, but it's been a while since he's been on these streams.
If For Life were still alive, I know he'd probably be pissed.
Well, we don't know what has happened to For Life, but
I know he's still alive, but I'm just saying he's like so far MIA that missing in action.
Yeah, but this makes me wonder if like Koei has taken a bit from like a Naruto, the whole Orochimaru kind of thing.
There's someness to that, but Orochimaru never really was ever in control of anyone. When he did steal bodies, he was 100% like the.
Yeah, that's true.
He basically killed whoever he took control of.
Yeah, I do know that Koei is also was a fan of Kishimoto and all that stuff.
The only thing I can think of is that this is again his love for American comics. This could, although it's just a villain on another villain at this case. But I mean, I guess you could argue Superior Spider-Man is the kind of ish reference that you could maybe mauled about.
Possibly, but who knows? But yeah.
But instead of a villain becoming a hero or doing anti-hero level work, it's just a villain taking over a worse villain taking over a kind of a tantrum villain.
I guess you could say that, but yeah. I mean, the only thing we know is, besides being a comic book fan, that Koei is a big Star Wars fan.
Thing is just one massive tantrum, but
yeah, but yeah. So yeah. So
he also killed his family, so I don't know if he's really redeemable for that.
No.
Yeah.
Even if that was unconscious killing, I mean, I don't know how
Midoriya's going to save him.
Yeah, that's just going to be like whoosh.
Right.
If you forgive that, damn.
I mean, let's see. We still have no idea if Midoriya is actually going to be able to save him in the end or not, or if something else is going to happen, or if Koei's going to go like the Darth Vader route.
It'd probably be the best way, but I'm sure at least how it's geared up right now would be like, well, we're going to save him. We're not going to kill him, but we're going to save him. He could be a hero. You too could be a hero. I said, Naruto, you're the coolest guy ever.
I do think if that is end up saying, you're going to get a lot of people pissed.
Everyone was pissed about that one too, by the way.
Yeah,
Which
well,
was
yeah.
arguably even more justified, being like, why are you telling the guy that you just saw and cried over killing someone, and you're going to say that he's the coolest guy ever? Truly the coolest guy.
Yeah, it's the shonen manga need to be more careful who they redeem in their villains.
I mean, yeah, we had Vegeta, but
Yeah.
I mean, death in Dragon Ball is basically non-existent.
Yeah. So anyway, cutting back to the chapter a bit. Let's see. Let's see what else is there to talk about. Unless you want to. We've already talked about.
It would be up to you on if there was anything we kind of more or less missed, unless you agree with what we were saying too.
Yeah, I think for the most part you got it covered down. Let's see. The only thing really left to talk about that we could is, I guess, let's see how they resolve the issue about, let's see, with them now stopping and thinking about it. This will be getting a step closer to making more of awareness of these things. Do you think the message of that is being, let's see, handled well or not?
Like, I guess you're talking about how the heteromorphs are being treated or something like that.
Yeah, and the heroes realizing what it is, they're going to try and make it a bit more clear message. Do you think they've handled that well here, or do you think it's good intentions but poor execution?
I mean, my take on it is I'm pretty sure the anime would be the redeemer here, because there's only so much space on a panel, obviously. So it really only looks like what, three heroes really, and it's only one guy really saying it, and that's to the commander, no less. But I can see it going both ways. It's a little flat just because it's the one guy saying it, but I think it's supposed to mean that, yeah, going forward, we're going to try, once this is all over, to try something maybe. Although it's not really set up for that. It's just saying, sorry, we didn't realize sooner.
Yeah. Granted, it's probably best that this time Corey did a random hero rather than a Rocklock, because I think that would have brought back the controversy a few chapters ago.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a decision or if these are somewhat still planned in advance. I don't know. I don't know if they're like. I mean, I know these are still weekly based things, but I don't know if he starts planning like even remotely ahead a bit. Like said, oh well, I already have this week's done, but I'm gonna start drawing next week, so let's have some thoughts in there. Maybe, I don't know.
At the moment, it seems that Steve is currently got to go somewhere, and he'll be right back. So it's just you and me at the moment, Mangareader.
For the moment, all right. Yeah, that's no problem.
Let's see. So I suppose we can do a bit more of our predictions. I guess we know that Kurogiri is most likely going to save Shigaraki, but besides that, what else do you think is going to happen? Possibly, not looking.
And I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah. We stalled just enough time.
Yeah. Let's see.
It took us hours. Oh no, just kidding.
Yeah, but I guess the only thing since I asked Mangareader this question, Steve, how did you feel about the overall message at the end of let's see, we've heard you now, we're going to try and make more awareness of this. Do you think it was handled well, or do you think it was good intention, poor execution kind of situation?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, this would have helped if we'd actually seen any of this happening, within the first couple arcs of the manga itself. So,
yeah, you would have thought.
So the message here, I kind of feel like it's tacked on a little too much. So good idea, flawed execution. Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you go.
Introduced too late and resolved too early.
Yeah,
good old chapters.
yeah. It does feel like a subplot that Let's See is a bit small and all that stuff, and it should be more like a more recurring thing.
You know
I
who
guess
also should have been here? Now that I thought about it, that goat girl.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was yeah, especially since she's also a transfer student from another country and all that stuff. So, yeah,
And she's from America, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, and well, America does have like the sort of like this sort of like a like sort of culture stuff going on right now, but yeah, so that might have fit in with it, but perhaps Corey figured perhaps maybe that might be too much.
Who knows?
Yes, but yeah.
We just need 1A to be the main focal point as usual.
Yeah. Also, I think there's also that Cypher guy from Class B as well. And that sort of like Beast Man.
There's quite a few characters that could have worked in this setting, but they just chose the two of them, so.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah.
But anywho, predictions. Well, definitely more fighting.
More
think that's
fighting.
obvious.
Oh man. Bold statement there, man. What do you think this is, an action manga?
I don't know. Well, definitely there'll be the hospital fight, that's for sure. And definitely we just had his name earlier too. Why am I forgetting?
Shigaraki or
no, not Shigaraki.
Kuroguri or well, there's what Spinner. Are you talking about Dabi?
Kurogoro, yeah.
Kurogiri. Yeah, Shimura. Kuroshima. Yeah,
definitely.
Shirakuma.
Right. Definitely. Definitely going to be clash between those two, and definitely that hospital is going to be coming down on their heads.
The old warper, as you can say it.
Mm-hmm.
Kuroguri is awakened. He's going to cause some chaos, pretty much, is what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So,
well, I already know the spoilers for next week, so I won't say anything, obviously. Yeah. But I'm sure Blue's absolutely thrilled for his favorite fight.
Mm-hmm.
which yeah, anyway.
Yes, but yeah, I know what you're referring to, but yes. So anyway, I guess it's now time to rate the overall score for this chapter. So out of 10, how would you guys rate it?
Honestly, 7, maybe 6, bordering.
I was gonna say that seems a little high for given just how you can summarize it fairly well. Yeah. I mean,
like
I guess the lowest you could go is 5, probably.
It's serviceable, but ultimately, it's just a done in one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say it's probably a 7 and all that stuff. I mean, it's like you said, not too much has happened except for like at the end where Kurogiri has finally awakened. Let's see, you mostly had the heteromorph thing resolved and all that stuff, mostly due to the pig guy speaking out. Spinner just concludes that all he really wanted was just to follow Shigaraki. And of course, Kurogiri awakening and all that stuff. Once, like, let's see, he saw Shigaraki's hand and all that stuff. So yeah, or one of his like relatives' hands, but yeah. So he's now going to go try and rescue him.
Of course. Yeah, maybe I'll meet Deadway and say like, well, I don't know, 5.5, 6 and 1, 6 and 1/4. Some weird random number in between 5 and 7.
6.3.
6.3.
Yeah, there you go. But let's see. For me, I'll probably just give it a solid
You just want to give it
rather
a 10
heavy.
for me.
Just like it just gets there and all that stuff. Just mostly because of the last few pages.
I mean, you can always give it a 10 out of 10 for the art because that's like the one thing Koei always seems to get right, no matter what.
Yeah, the art is great. I will probably say.
Well, the art's always great.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like, Koei, why are you like some master artist and yet your stories sometimes have some hit and miss to them? Damn you.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess it goes to show that some mangas are better the art than they are the writing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what most people started to conclude with Kishimoto towards the end of his run.
Right.
And maybe as well with Kubo, but then again, people criticized him for the white backgrounds.
It's always fun to go back and read like the early chapters just to see if the art like evolved, like with Bleach, it like 100% involved. It's like two different series when you look at how it started versus where it started to end up at. But I don't know. I think Koei's been fairly consistent throughout. If anything, he's gotten a little more simplistic on certain aspects, while getting heavier on other ones for some reason.
Definitely the crowd shot in this chapter, a little bit simplistic. Kind of felt like he's just drawn stick figures.
Yeah.
Against
he'll
gradient.
draw like every hand in like full detail.
And meanwhile on Twitter, it's being passed around like, oh, this one panel Kishimoto drew of Pain about to annihilate Konoha.
Yeah. I loved how every month that someone always reposts the which one of these is a monthly manga when the other three are like freaking weeklies, and then they have Bordeaux and the monthly manga. But you can't guess which one of these is monthly.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's where Bleach always got like kind of criticized for, was Kubo would only ever focus on the character and have like no background whatsoever. But there's an obvious reason for that sometimes, and yeah, Koei's starting to do that a little bit too, where you see just a character in there, whether or not it's fully detailed or not. But like I said, this is a guy that'll make the crowds look like nothing, but then he'll like draw an entire page of hands in fine detail.
Yeah, which I gotta give him credit for, because hands are difficult to draw.
Yeah, or we had the freaking head face the one time too, or the freaking cannon, the insect, whatever the hell the Sun Eater cannon was. Like, what you went all out on that, but you'll start making Deku without pupils.
Right.
Or Uraraka without pupils.
Yeah.
What? How did their eyes change in that time frame? Even now, the anime has to follow that too. It's like, wait, you guys had the pupils, and now you're doing like the white irises, or the white pupils in this case. I meant.
But yeah, that Chimera design cannon was quite something. But yeah. Anyway, I think it's about time we wrap this up. Steve, thank you for joining us, and let's see. I hope you enjoyed. Discussing My Hero with us. We probably made it longer than what the content of the chapter was supposed to be, but that's sometimes what happens when you have more than just one guest on.
Well, it's just always fun to get off topic, apparently, too.
Yeah, that as well. But yeah, let's see. You'll be able to join us for the next time we do this. Who knows? I mean, when I tend to review it, we tend to do at least 2 or 3 chapters usually. But yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see what goes. But yeah,
what goes?
Anyway, I am. Let's see. Anyway, just before that, I hope for those who have ended up listening to this or watch it later, enjoy the review. But for now, let's see. Blue Star Saber,
Mangareader,
LKNMJ, also known as Steve,
and we are now signing off. Plus Ultra, everyone.
Plus Ultra, guys.
And goodbye. You gonna say plus ultra before Steve, or it's not your thing?
Just gonna
That's
join in.
just not my thing. No.
That's just not your thing.
Okay, fair enough. And